Shane Van Gisbergen has completed his second Coca-Cola 600 and finishes in the top 15 for the first time on an oval in 2025 and finishes in 14th place. What's going on, guys? It's Daniel and welcome back to our video. As I just said a second ago, Shane Van Gisbergen has completed his second ever Coca-Cola 600 with Trackhouse Racing, and he scores his first top 15 oval finish of the 2025 season and finishes in 14th place. At the start of the race, Shane Van Gisbergen yesterday had showed some really good speed, especially on the long run in practice, and he would start back in 30th position in this race. Now, in the first couple laps of the event, Shane Van Gisbergen would fade back a little bit. His car was not really good on restarts and would drop all the way back to around 35th or 36th position. But as the race progressed and went on, I started noticing that SVG's car was getting a lot better. And by around lap 30 or 40 of the race, by the time Kyle Larson has spun out for the first time in the event, we started moving up quite a bit. He actually would be on the lead lap and would not come down pit road. Guys like Ross Chastain, Ryan Blaney, and a couple of guys like Derek Cross, I believe, would come down pit road. SVG would stay out and was able to stay on the lead lap. And then we got back racing once again. Shane Van Gisbergen would move up a couple more positions once again, and he started moving toward the front a little bit more. And he started moving himself inside of the top 30, and he started picking up positions. He was passing guys like Todd Gillen and Ty Dillon and Cole Custer in the back of the pack and would be inside of the top 30 and moving inside the top 25. By the end of stage number 1, Shane Van Gisbergen was continuing to move his way forward and got up himself inside of the top 25. Fourth stage would be won by William Byron under caution after Alex Bowman crashed really hard, and Shane Van Gisbergen would come off the corner and be around the top 25. We got back racing once again, and Shane Van Gisbergen's car, like I said, would not be very good on restarts. Actually, would be inside the top 20 after pit stops had happened. He was running 22nd or 23rd. And then Shane Van Gisbergen was able to make some pretty impressive moves to the field. Then right in front of him or right behind him, there would be a crash that happened between Jimmy Johnson, Connor Zilic, and a couple other guys as well, including Cole Custer, who would end up getting damaged in a crash, and Shane was able to avoid that incident. We went back racing once again. Shane Van Gisbergen would actually have a pretty good pit stop and restart around 16th or 17th position. He tried to make a move to get by Ricky Stenhouse Jr., but Stenhouse tried to make a little bit of a dive bomb move to the inside. Shane would end up pretty much nearly getting spun out as it came down the front straightaway, and had a pretty awesome and really epic save and was able to continue going. He lost a couple positions and nearly fell outside of the top 20, but was able to continue going. And he continued maintaining around that 20th to 22nd range for this portion of the event, but he would still be on the lead lap throughout this race. He was able to maintain up front and actually got a really solid finish at the end of stage number 2. And Shane Van Gisbergen would come off the corner by the end of stage number 2. William Byron won this stage. He would come off the corner and finish inside the top 20 of the stage. And then, of course, Kyle Busch ends up spinning, coming to the end of stage number 2 while the caution had been out. Then, of course, we had the moment of silence, and then we got back racing once again. And Shane Van Gisbergen had another pretty good pit stop, and we restarted around 15th or 14th position in this race. We went green for a little bit, then we had a really bad crash between Zane Smith and Shane Van Gisbergen. So what happened down the back straightaway on lap 238 of the event? Shane Van Gisbergen was battling Zane Smith for around 16th or 17th position in the event. He got right behind him. Zane Smith got loose off the corner. Shane had nowhere to go, ran into the back of him, unfortunately, and ends up spinning him out. It was very slight contact. I don't think Zane was saving that car. I know Zane was really upset with SVG, but to me, that was not an intentional crash by SVG. He didn't really do anything wrong in that situation. And overall, just not enough for him to avoid the situation there. I think he got a tiny bit of damage on the car, but was able to continue going after that incident. Then we went back racing once again, and there would be another crash a few laps later between Ryan Blaney, his teammate Daniel Suarez, and also Kyle Larson got collected in the incident along with Justin Haley as well. That would be a couple more positions for him as he would move up inside the top 15 and 20-ish area. Then went back racing once again. It pretty much be straightforward by the end of stage number 3. William Byron had a really good battle between Carson Osmar and Denny Hamlin for the lead. Shane would be inside around the 15th to 20th range. He'd come off the corner, be inside the top 20, and William Byron would come off the corner, getting the lead late and winning stage number 3. Then we went back racing once again for SVG at the beginning of stage number 4. SVG would be restarting once again inside the top 20 area, and he would maintain inside the top 20 as the restart would happen. But then all of a sudden, there would be some major trouble for Carson Hocevar on the restart. Carson Hocevar, who had a really fast car, shot to go to victory lane. He has an engine failure, and unfortunately, Chris Buescher and Bubba Wallace end up getting collected in the incident and wreck. All three drivers' chances to get a good finish were over. Bubba and Carson would end up going to the garage, while, of course, Chris Buescher was able to continue, but he had a lot of damage on the car. Then we got back racing once again for the final restart of the event with around 80 laps to go in the race. And SVG got a really solid restart and was able to get up inside the top 20, but then he would lose a little bit of ground on the restart. But then he fell back to around 21st or 22nd position. But his team played an ultimate strategy. They would go ahead and actually stay out for a very long time, hoping to get a caution. Unfortunately, Trackhouse kept him out a little bit too long, and he would lose some track position to fall outside of the top 20, but actually stay inside the top 20 around 17th or 18th. But Shane Van Gisbergen, by the end of the event, he was starting to charge his way up there. He was catching people in front of him like Eric Jones. Chase Elliott was not far in front of him, and people like Denny Hamlin were going to have to come down pit road to top off on field. And near the end of the race, when SVG was running in 15th position, Austin Dillon, he would basically have to come down pit road because he had not had enough gas to make it to the checker flag after running very well. Shane Van Gisbergen would have an opportunity to catch Eric Jones, but would run out of time, try to make a move on him with a couple laps to go to get up inside the top 13, but he wouldn't have the opportunity to get by him, as we saw a late pass by his teammate Ross Chastain to pick up his first win of 2025, the first time we've seen a smashed watermelon this year in the Cup Series, and Shane Van Gisbergen comes off the corner and finishes in 14th position. Overall, a very solid performance for SVG. In my opinion, probably the best overall run that we have seen Shane Van Gisbergen have in the Cup Series this year. Not just on the road courses, but in general on the ovals this year. In fact, probably his most all-around put together race he's had in Cup so far, because he today ran exceptional. We've talked about him being an amazing driver on the road courses, but we know he hasn't been that great on the ovals. But the last couple weeks, his 88 team has shown a lot more speed. At Kansas, he got a top 20 finish. At Texas, he finished in 22nd. He finished 20th at Darlington, another intermediate. And he got to do a test recently, from what I remember correctly, I think a wheel force test. And I think that really helped him and benefited him, because tonight he put together a really strong performance, because he's, again, just not had the speed on ovals. And granted, he's had a lot of bad luck this year, there's no question about it. But generally, the Trackhouse cars haven't had speed. But tonight, he was the second fastest Trackhouse racing machine out there, outside, of course, of Ross Chastain, who won the race. Now, of course, Connor Zilisch was making his Oval Cup debut. He put together a very solid performance despite getting into a wreck with Jimmy Johnson. He finished 23rd, which for his first ever Cup Series start on an oval, that's pretty impressive for the driver of the Red Bull car, considering Suarez's future is still a little bit in question right now. We don't know what the future of Suarez is going to be. And with, of course, Zilisch finishing the top 25, I think it's going to help his opportunity to maybe take over that seat. There's been questions recently, too, about whether SVG should have gotten the seat in the Cup Series full-time in the first place, but I do think that he's earned the right to stay. Tonight was a very impressive performance. He did a really strong job, and there's some good tracks coming up for him. And, hey, we're going to be going back to tracks for a second time soon. If I remember correctly, in the Xfinity Series and National, he ran quite well there, which I think he's going to be pretty quick at that track. And then, of course, he got some other tracks where I think he's going to be pretty quick and strong. He's got some race in Xfinity coming up really soon. I think Mexico's a little bit unknown. There's been rumors that Suarez is going to drive that 9-car at Mexico, but he's got some road courses coming up. And we know he's going to be factored at the Chicago Street Course. He's going to be going up against guys like Cam Waters and Brock Feeney on the Xfinity Series side, because he's running the Chicago Street Course event. And then, of course, we know he's going to be running the Watkins Glen Xfinity event, but Connor Zilisch is going to be strong in that race. And maybe even some other Cup guys may run some of these races, like Kyle Larson, Kyle Busch, Bubba Wallace, Ross Chastain. Some of those guys are going to be doing some commentary this season. But I think for Trackhouse, this is a major step in the right direction for Shane. Tonight was a really impressive performance for the number 88 team, and he should be really proud of this run. This is, again, the most impressive run we've seen from Shane so far, and tonight was a great and really strong run for the driver of the number 88 machine. So congratulations to Shane on finishing inside the top 10. Not top 10, but top 15. Tonight was a great run and very impressive speed from the number 88 team tonight at Trackhouse at the Coca-Cola 600. Impressive speed that the 88 car showed tonight. So, again, just great run for him, and I think this is going to continue, and I think he's going to continue getting better as time progresses and goes on with the Trackhouse Racing team going forward. So, that is going to be tonight's special video on Shane Van Gisbergen getting a top 15 at the Coke 600. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, notifications on, so if I win a video, it does go live on my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and support me on Patreon as well. Let's go to the bar of that and comment your thoughts below on today's video. How do you rate Shane Van Gisbergen's performance tonight at the Coke 600? You think he did a great job, or do you still think there's improvement that needs to be had? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Tomorrow on the channel, we are going to have multiple NASCAR news videos discussing news over the course of the last couple days. We got some contract and Celestine stuff to talk about. We're going to talk about Suarez's future, William Byron's contract extension, Kyle Busch's extension for one more year. We're going to talk about Cletus McFarland, Matt Benedetto, Frankie Muniz, Dodge a little bit, Honda as well. A former driver of the 9 might be coming back. Maybe it's Marcus Ambrose. Who knows at this point? We're talking about Charlotte Creed, Sam Mayer, Frankie Muniz. I mentioned Cletus McFarland. We're going to talk about him, and many other people are going to be talking about in the industry, like Denny Hamlin and Ross Chastain and Eric Jones and Sammy Smith, who got disqualified as well. We'll talk about all this stuff on the channel in the coming days and weeks, along with Spire Motorsports and the Trackhouse Racing team going into the future as well. So anyways, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's episode, and I'll see you guys next time for more great, awesome NASCAR content and other motorsports content on the channel like this. Take care, everybody.